Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev.
Good morning.
What?
How are you doing?
Well, interesting enough. I just find this funny. I just got to get this out here right now while I'm thinking about it. So I've said in the past that I feel like Earth is the ghetto of the universe. And the aliens are just like, don't stop there, just keep going, right? Well, one of the things I thought of today, it was because I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the Bible in just short context. And one of the things that came up was being exiled. And so I was thinking, I'm like, did God put us on restriction and send us here? Is this us being on restriction? So it was just a funny thing I was thinking about.
That's funny. It's actually been presented to me that we're on vacation. We're on vacation because we get to actually feel things through a physical body, which is, well, what we claim to be a physical body, right? Because most of us, and then you hear about it from other people or it hasn't been in my experience, but I've read and heard how people are wanting to be into bodies. Like there's not enough bodies for people to get into, and they're like waiting to get into these bodies. So it's a interesting, that's funny how you're perceiving it, but it's so funny to have different perceptions of the same thing, because it gives people the opportunity to feel what feels right to them. Of course, it's a funny.
Yeah,
You presented a funny.
yeah.
And I get that in so many ways. And it feels like if we look at life like especially here, and I know that's not where you were going with it.
No, it's all right. Go with it.
But if we look at life like it's a punishment, like we're here for being punishment, we have to defend everything, then that's how we live our lives, right? But then when we start changing things, like I posted those pictures of the double rainbow yesterday. I posted those pictures because it's like, holy crap, like people are running around and you're so worried about all these things that have no control over. And then we do have control over it, not the exact experience, but the way we respond to it and how we show up, and recognizing that we are these great big beams of light. And we don't have to have, it only takes one flashlight to shine up a light or brighten up a whole area. You know what I mean? So it can affect so many people. So it's like, we don't have to go with the masses that are, probably going to be going through such an awakening. I mean, here we are, we're so lucky in so many ways because we have the perspective of seeing that we're awakened, of feeling these things already. And then I say that now, but then some of these people, if they're open to it, when their soul decides like it's time and they haven't awakened at all, and all of a sudden they have all this information flowing to them, that's where we come into play. That's where we come in to help ground them or give them a different perspective. But the whole perspective on this life is such a journey. So back to the rainbows. So the double rainbow is because I could take the time and walk outside and see it. Freeman brought it to my attention, but it's like I went outside, and then from there, I look over towards town, and I see the way the light is shining through, the sun is shining through the clouds, which was so amazing. Like it was amazing. And the rain that we were getting, it's amazing. Like the whole process. So we're going to see what we want to see. So whatever you're putting your attention on, which we've spoke about on numerous occasions, that it's whatever you want to put your energy onto. It's whatever you want to feed. It's whatever fire you want to grow, however you want to look at it, however you want to say it. This is your book you're writing right now. This is your canvas. How do you want it to look? So it's really just taking the time and having different perspectives. And right here, we're presenting perspectives. We're presenting an opportunity for someone to choose growth or not choose growth.
And I'm gonna hit up on what we did just before we got on the camera. First of all, I want to say about the rainbows that, well, first, us people in the desert, when it rains, it's like we've never seen rain before. Just saying.
Every time.
Every time.
It rained yesterday and it rained this morning, and it still is exciting every single time.
Same excitement. I get all excited. I'm like, oh, it's raining, and I'll go outside. And last night I sat there on my porch for a little bit. It was a nice cool breeze. When we've been having over 100-degree temperatures, it was just so nice because it was like lower 80s, and that the rain, just listening to it. And I was really embracing that moment of listening to the rain. I mean, like I was listening to the rain. And so anyway, we just totally get excited about the rain and the thunderstorms. We absolutely love the thunder, or I do. The thunder and lightning storms are just like one of my faves. So anyway, about the rainbow. So yeah, I saw a rainbow, and I saw a partial double rainbow, and I posted my pictures. And then it was interesting later when I went on to Facebook, and there were many people posting pictures about rainbows, or posting their picture of the rainbow in our town, and the different perspectives, different views, not perspectives, but the different views of it. Like, you posted the double rainbow, full, beautiful, amazing. I posted it from one direction. I got one one full rainbow, and I could see just the beginning stages of a second one. And so when I saw yours, I was like, oh, she's so lucky, right? It was so exciting. And then seeing other people posting from where they live or where they were in that moment of their perspective of that rainbow. And it just makes you think, like, how different, depending on where we're at, whether you live or where you're at with yourself, how you see things, situations, how you view people. And so I'm just going to hit on, before we got onto camera, I'm like, okay, Bev, tell me where I'm looking. Because from my perspective, when I'm sitting here and we're having a conversation, having an introverted background, it's been a process to be able to look at somebody and have a conversation. Okay, that's huge for an introvert. So when I'm talking, when we've been doing tea time for over 2 years now, and when I'm talking, I'm looking at Bev. And I'm talking to Bev, right? Because we're having a conversation. I want to see her facial expressions. I want to see her eyes. I want to see, is she engaged? Is she not engaged? Is she just like, this lady's lost her damn mind, right? You can tell by people's facial expressions. Well, that's from my viewpoint. I'm having a conversation with Bev. I want to look at Bev, and that's where my focus is. So it's come to my attention, not through anybody in watching the videos, but through training. They're like, look at your camera. So you're engaged with the audience. And I'm like, wait, what? So I had to ask Bev, where am I looking? And she's like, well, I'm looking here. I'm looking. Where am I looking right here? She's like, well, you look like you're looking down. I'm like, oh man, for over 2 years I've been doing this. So now it's a practice. So it's just when you're really aware of something and you want to make a change for the better, then you practice. So here I am. I'm practicing looking at my camera to talk to Bev, because Bev says I'm looking at her. To me, I'm looking at my camera and I can't see her. So whatever she could have all kinds of facial expressions, I won't even see it, because I won't even know, because I'm not looking at her directly.
Well, but we go back to intention, right?
Right.
Everything is intention, whether we see it with our eyes, we feel it with our body, we taste it, we smell it, however we perceive it. It's all intention.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome.
And really, if, I'm not looking at her, I'm not receiving her energy from looking at her. At any time, whatever I say, she could be like, Amie, let's talk about this.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Every single time. Yeah.
So anyway, perspective is huge in any given situation. It's in your if there's something that's happened, a car accident, I know we've talked about this before, but a car accident, you have somebody standing on each corner. You have people sitting up in, 2 or 3 story building looking down. Maybe somebody's off on the freeway who could see, like, there's all these different angles and viewpoints and seeing things differently. And we have to embrace that and know that there's so much. My viewpoint of Bev is different than your viewpoint of Bev, even though we're having the same experience. Bev's viewpoint of me is different than your viewpoint of me. It's the same experience. So we're all operating from our own programming and what we know, what we've experienced, who we've interacted with over the years, mainly the adults as in our childhood. And it's okay that we're seeing things differently. A lot of times it's good. It's good that we see things differently, because then we can share that with each other and say, okay, well, I view this person as annoying and antagonistic and blunt. And I could say, okay, well, I see this person as confident. They speak their mind. They know how to use their voice. They know how to stand up for themselves. So could I always do that? No, I could not. I would have been on the other spectrum of this jerk, this guy's an asshole, right? So, and yeah, you might still be a jerk. However, there are qualities in him or her that are strong, and you want to point out the qualities that resonate with you so that you can implement them, because whatever we see in other people, we do have it within ourselves if we choose to tap into it.
True. And you're saying all that stuff, and I'm thinking about some person wearing glasses, right? Glasses from childhood, take those and drop them off. Glasses from experiences, drop them. We don't need all that stuff anymore. When we just become simple and stripped from all the things that we've attached to in our lives since we've been here in this physical body, we're so simple. It's so simple and it's so flowing. It glows. It's a light. It's uplifting. It just makes it, it's, before you hear about putting on the rose colored glasses, well, it's not even about that. It's about really seeing things without all the crap that we've had placed on our eyes, that we've accepted in place of our eyes, really, because we're not seeing it through our own soul in many cases. But we're back to that point where it's a learning, just like you said, you're practicing looking at the camera differently so that you can, implement that you're in touch with everybody. You're like talking to every single person out there. And of course, I never have my glasses on usually when I'm doing this, although I could. And I could never tell you where your eyes are looking at anyways. You always seem to be looking at me. So that's all that matters. So you can look wherever you want to look.
Oh, you're just going to look wherever. I had a talking about perspective and then I like that analogy, taking off those glasses, taking off the way we've been seeing life or perceiving people and see them differently. So putting on maybe healthier viewpoint, maybe doesn't feel like the words that resonate. Fresh eyes, maybe, because we have to let go of the old way of seeing things in order to see things from a different viewpoint. So fresh eyes, maybe, is the word. Along those lines of taking those glasses off from as a child, that in my interaction with a client yesterday, this was something that was presented to me. So is this not like I made this up or I'm downloading this information? I'm sharing it because I learned it. That when we're in that space of our childhood traumas and we're still living from that space and we're still getting triggered in many ways, and we're not allowing ourselves to step into our greatness or our fullness, our wholeness, you step into the space of love, is that, and this pertains, I'm going to say it from a perspective of a female, that is a princess mentality. The princess is the one that has the attitudes, has the temper tantrums, has the talking back, all those things. To me, it really sounds like a teenager, actually. But that's princess mentality. Now, if we think about a queen is very much into her feminine energy of listening to her intuition first and foremost. Like, that is huge. She's calm, she's cool, she's she thinks things through, she is confident, she stands tall, she has her shoulders back, she can make decisions. And that's the difference of the childhood, wearing the childhood glasses compared to being the adult of that child that's still within you to help them be safe. And so what I told this client yesterday, I'm like, when you get ready for your day, just imagine you have a crown and take not a tiara. A tiara is for a princess, but a crown. You take that queen's crown and put it on top of your head and claim that space of being the queen. And she's like, yeah, I want to go buy me a crown. I said, well, be playful. Let the little girl show up and make one. Get some cardboard, get some aluminum foil, get some bling and put on it. I'm like, let her play and create a crown and put it on. And so we were just having conversation about that. But it's like the difference when you think about the difference of still living from that space of the childhood traumas to where you are today, and wanting to be that adult, and that confident adult, and the adult that doesn't get triggered all the time and doesn't flip out on everybody. There's a difference. That's the analogy I can give you for a difference.
Nice. And when I'm thinking of confidence, because I'm going through this experience, have been going through this experience with you as well, even getting me into this videos is really the only way that I could gain the confidence that I know of was to repetitively do something to where I became comfortable with it, where I became, knowledgeable with it, that I felt like I had something to contribute, especially in our conversations, because I kept thinking, well, what am I going to say? Yeah, we have deep conversations, but we can't plan this stuff. I mean, I couldn't wrap my mind around a lot of this stuff, but it's like I have more confidence. It goes even back to the beginning of massage. And this was brought to my attention recently because it's something else now I'm into doing. But going into massage, I when I first started massage, I was like, oh God, I hope I'm doing this right. I was so worried about the client being happy or not happy, all these things. And at some point, I got to this point where I had the knowledge and I had seen enough people, because I've been doing this for 9 years now. I've been doing it for a long time. And I have my confidence. I mean, I gained that confidence over that time. We think that we're going to go out and start something new and then we're going to be fine. If I'm going to start doing mediumship stuff, I'm going to first acknowledge the times that I have done it already. So that's, giving me my confidence. But it's practice. It's just doing it on a regular basis to where it becomes familiar. So you're familiar with the language. So right now I'm familiar with muscle language. I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with energy because of all this stuff. I have a client that I come and see, and she's like, I don't know, I think we probably always have been in each other's lives. And she tells me it's time for you to transition. And at first when she said that, I was like, okay, I guess I'm skipping out on the planet. Peace out, people. I had a good time. It's been a good run.
Hey, call me, let me know.
That's right. I love you all. And then as she was talking, then I recognized, and then it's like, then I got a little bit of butterflies. She means to transition from things that I'm already doing. I do distant healing on people all the time for free. And then when I pull in someone's energy for Reiki, which you do when you're in there inside with the person too, you get all this information. You get all this information. The only difference is when I'm doing it, any distant healing, now I'm pulling their energy to my energy, into my energy, and I'm feeling everything and I'm writing it all down. And I don't have the person talking or anything, no expectations, no nothing in that space. And I'm able to do these things. And then at the same time, then I'm asking questions, which is the same thing that you do with mediumship. So it's another form of it. Oh, well, that's shown up. I wonder why that's shown up. I wonder what would help that, going through this whole process. And she told me yesterday, she said, it's time for you, or Saturday, it's time for you to transition. It's time. So what does that look like to you? Like, she really set me on the spot. What does that look like to you? How much are you going to charge? 15 minutes. I said, $1 a minute, $15. And she's like, no. I said, okay, $20. And she says, no, $25. $25 for 15 minutes to start off with, $50 for a half an hour. And she says, and you can go up to your hour. She says, that's the way it is. So she says, when are we scheduling an appointment? Like, totally put me on the spot to do these things. Like, seriously. Yeah, I do too. And it wasn't pushy. It didn't feel pushy. Otherwise I would have resisted, because I would have felt that push, right? It was just honoring me where I'm at right now. Yes, I've heard this information from home, because Freeman's always telling me stuff. It's the same thing you're already doing now. And I'm like, well, how do I put this into play? And then she was just giving more words like, okay, well, you don't have no way out. Like, we're in the space right now. Let's do this. So I said, okay, Sunday at 10. Okay. She said, let's do this. Now, mind you, I know this person. I've been seeing her for, I don't know, 5, 6 years. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been a long time, long enough for me to see this person go through her own transition and phase is freaking amazing. But and then she sets me up, and I'm like, I'm thinking I know everything about this person. Like, I know everything. And I'm going to start a half an hour beforehand so I could pull her energy in. So I'm dealing with this, and then we have a conversation. So I do go through this process. I didn't have the full half an hour because I got busy with something else here, but life. But I had the time, and I'm writing this stuff down. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. So getting in my way, right? My mind starts getting in my way, and I'm processing it because I'm thinking, but the first reaction is like, no, first reaction, write it down. What does that mean? Writing down all this stuff. And then I get talking to her on the phone, and she says, you're 100% on everything. Like, it's all accurate. And then as we're going, it's like, even more, as we're talking, more information's flowing to me because I'm in that space to receive that information and to share it, because that's what she needs at this time. And it was stuff that it's stuff that I don't even usually recommend or even say. So it wasn't like out of repetition. It was just out of that being kind of letting go of my free will in so many ways, because I'm allowing spirit to flow through me and I'm allowing that. So I'm able to write this stuff down and give her the information that's needed, whatever that looks like. I don't know what it looks like right now. It's like I told Freeman last night, what do you label that? I don't know. I don't know. How would you label that? I don't know. So it's like, here we are. And at the same time, it'll be the same thing with anybody else. It's giving information. So I already been doing this. I've been doing this for free for years. Since I learned how to do Reiki, I've been doing it. Yeah. And it's just, of course, it's grown over time. So it's gotten better and better and better. So now I can put my crown on, right? And step into that position and feel confident, because she's made me feel confident, because she reminded me again, which you have reminded me, and we've had these conversations. People need to be vested in something as well, because if they're vested in it, then they're more likely to follow through on some of these actions. And then I have a person that came in, and I'm asking for signs. So this is how it shows up. I'm asking for signs, and it's presenting itself. It's presenting itself. I have a person that comes in Friday. I didn't do a massage on her. We just sat and had a conversation. And I asked her before she left, was it, is there, so we make sure we get everything taken care of. Is there anything that you were expecting that you didn't receive at this time? And she says, no, this was awesome. And she says, I want to book another appointment with you. So it's that simple. And then this morning I'm getting another message. It is. And then I'm getting another message. So she says it, and I knew it was time to transition. I knew this already. I didn't know what that looked like, because I felt it within me. I love doing massage, but when I think about a passionate job, like a passion for something I'm doing every day, I don't wake up and think, oh man, today I just want to stay home and not do any massages. I just want to stay home. So to me, and maybe you do have those when you're in that full passion mode. I don't know yet. I'm not in that space. But when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, I got another day. This is going to be so much fun. I don't even know what's going to happen. I'm so excited. That's, to be in that space all the time is what my goal is, really, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And the way you get better at it is practicing.
Yes.
The thing is, you already know this. You've been practicing this for years. You've already been practicing it for years. It's when it comes to the exchange, the energy exchange of money for that service.
Yes.
And not every, majority of people who have their spiritual gifts, they know it, they know how to use it, feel uncomfortable for charging for that gift. Your massage is a gift. The way you do massage is a gift. I'm just being real. It is a gift the way you do massage. And you charge for that. You're like, absolutely. I'm charging whatever it is. $100. I'll just say $100 an hour. That's my fee for a massage. That's the going rate. In fact, I might even be lower than other people in town for an hour massage, but that's my rate.
Yeah.
Well, that's still a service, no different than mediumship or Reiki or chakra balancing or any of that is a service. And here's the thing. Everybody has those abilities. I could go be a massage therapist if I wanted to, but that's not my passion.
Exactly.
Right? There are so many ways I could go make money. It's not my passion. Almost anything I've ever done, I get really good at it because I practice it, but it's not my passion. I was in administration for 25 years. I'm really good at what I do. Not my passion, sitting at a desk with four walls. So,
yes.
And you've had your own training with life experience is training. But we don't take that as we think we need a piece of paper that says I'm certified or I have a degree in yada yada yada. Your life experience qualifies you because you know what you've been through, you know how to connect with people, and that's your service. And it's okay. It's not like you'd be the only one on the planet doing it.
No.
Right?
No. Thank God. Thank God. There's no way to handle all those people. Really, there's no way.
No.
Unless I'm in a huge, massive groups, and I'd have to have huge, massive groups everywhere I went to be able to process that. And then, of course, not even knowing what that looks like. Do I think it's going to evolve into something else? Yes, I do. I mean, I know that it is, but because this whole journey has been part of an evolution. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's all evolution. And then going back to the charging thing it's something like, to me, it's like, I'm sitting there like, you're really going to pay me for this? Like, this doesn't seem like it's a big deal to me because I've been doing it for so long.
How many people have you paid to have readings done or tune into your pets that have transitioned or your loved ones how many, like, I know I've paid thousands of dollars. I know. But when the tables turn and it's on you, the attention's on you, you're like,
it's true.
It's a little scary to take that step, but you know what? You're not going to know until you try it. And that step, like we've talked about before, that step is going to lead you into the next step, the next door, next conversation that it expands you even more.
Yeah, you're a prime example of that if you think about it, because in so many ways you were writing a book. Well, I remember when you were thinking about writing a book, I'm going to write a book, or I'm thinking about writing a book. And then it's like, then you're writing this book and next thing you know, and you're in is it called a collage of other collaborative with other authors, you know, and you like business. And so all these things that you were drawn to, it's like, I would sit back and it's like, well, that's not really my draw, but it's interesting to see how you're growing and how you're gravitating towards all these things. But this is part of your journey, and it's an awesome journey. But like I said, you're an example of it, because I've been able to sit here and witness the transition from one phase to the next. And then for myself, I've been able to do the same because I'm aware, because I've been giving myself more attention. I'm aware of my thoughts. I'm present more often than not. So it's like going through all that process. Now I'm able to look back and see all the areas that I've transitioned. And at this point, it makes me emotional, is to think I couldn't have done one without the other. Each part of the process had to be there. Right. And that even the people that were in my life, that transitioned from my life, like each part, and the ones that came into my life, like every part of this. Even
the hard situations.
Absolutely.
The hard situations.
Absolutely. It's all part of the process. And once you're through all that stuff, it's so different. I would say going through that process, the hard stuff is like just not to be hard on yourself and not to stay in that space for as long. And don't put a time frame on it. Yeah. Put your crown on. Yeah.
Crown on, sister.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Because the prince, right?
But now
Let's just use that analogy. The princess is like, can I charge for that? Can I take people's money to sit with me for 15 minutes? Is that okay? Like, princess, scared, unsure. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I've done it many times in my life. I've been there. The queen's like, hell yeah, let's do this. Let's see where this takes us. Let's see how this works out. Let's go for it. I can benefit people. And so you could do, just looking at it from business side, one person for 1 hour, you're impacting one life. 4 people in an hour, you're impacting 4 lives. Right? And then we get into, from that perspective, we get into less time, more impact. So that's what we do with a podcast. We could affect millions and billions of lives by us coming and having a conversation, compared to having a class with 20 people in person with the same content. So that's part of the passion, I think, with both of us. And what we do is, the passion is, how many more people can I serve? How many more people can I serve? However, I am one person.
Yes.
And so maybe it becomes, instead of one-on-one time, it becomes a group session where you have many people and they get to ask one question. However, even though they get to ask one question, there's, let's say 20 people in the room asking one question. Look how much impact that has on 20 people instead of one person.
Yes. Because that information that's going to flow through you is going to be for that group.
Right.
And I don't know if we've had this conversation live or not live, but it's like, even having the conversation, if you're in a group, you're always going to be presenting the best possible information for that group. And each group's different. Like, if you got a bunch of people that listen to Metallica and they're going to go to, a whole nother band, let's just say they went to go watch Queen, it's 2 different things. Like, it's 2 different energies. So you're going to reach people differently. And it's the same thing with how we show up in everyday life. It's whatever group's presented in front of us. And I feel like that's where it's awesome, that if we can be in the flow of spirit, of the source, God, all this information's flowing to us for the group in the best possible way they can receive that information. Always. Without it, you don't even have to do anything. It's just hooking up. And then I want to go back to asking questions, because as I'm going through this journey, I'm like, well, why, yesterday, because I'm reading Wolf's message and I'm writing this stuff down that she's written in there. And I'm like, all of a sudden it flashes in my mind, the time frame when I was in Estes Park. It was after my mom had passed. Gosh, I don't even know when Wayne Dyer passed, but it was right after he had passed. I was in Estes Park. Wayne Dyer had just transitioned, and Hay House was offering classes, or offering you could watch his movie for free.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sitting in a trailer park in Estes Park, which trailer park, it's not even, people got their 5th wheels and everything else like that out there. It's freaking beautiful, in the trees, in the summertime. Awesome. I'm sitting there and I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, I wonder how, because we asking questions, and now this solidifies for me, even being more, we're all able and capable of doing this, of channeling, of receiving information, of the mediumship skills. And I asked, gosh, I wonder how Wayne Dyer passed. And all of a sudden I got chest pain. And I'm like, oh, he died of a heart attack. So for me, for my confirmation, I looked up online and found out, indeed, yes, he did die of a heart attack. I didn't ask any more questions, watched the show. It was great. That was part of my learning experience. I mean, that part right there was like the huge learning experience. That's how easily I picked up on it. Didn't give hardly any attention to that process until that popped into my head, like out of the blue. So it was like probably Spirit's way of reminding me. And then I remember when I first met, Freeman has a dog named Mr. Huckabee. And when I first met him, I kept wanting to call him Zeus. I felt like Zeus and I couldn't figure it out. And then I had said something to him and he says, well, that's what his name was before I renamed him. I didn't know, but I mean, these things are happening all the time. So it's like to give yourself credit and acknowledge, if you don't have an awareness of self, then you overlook all these things that are natural for you. And it's funny because I've been bringing this up for probably the last few years with people. These things that are so natural to us, we just don't even give it a second thought. And we think it's no big deal and we keep looking for something else when it was already there the whole time. And that's how it is with all this stuff. It's all here right now. It's just remembering that language, is taking off those glasses and seeing things so differently, seeing yourself and being like, oh, wow, I was doing that. I was even doing that back then. I just didn't give myself credit for it. And I wasn't asking more questions. So when you're asking Spirit questions, you're asking, okay, I want to know how you passed. What is something you can tell me right now that I wouldn't know that's going on in their lives right now? So it's bringing forward this evidence to let them know, but without asking questions, you don't get the answers. So we're back to sitting in front of Google and thinking, I want to know everything in the world. And just sitting there waiting for, I got to put a question in. Right. Oh, okay. So I can get the information. It's no different. We have access to everything with just asking questions.
Yes. It is so cool because since we've been talking about this more and more about asking questions, I have been doing that same thing in a more general way of my daily schedule and stuff. So I have a lot of stuff to do as a solopreneur who does the marketing and the, maintaining the website, doing all these things. And so the question that I've been using for a while now is, how can I get more done in less amount of time? How can I get more done in less amount of time? That alone keeps me out of getting overwhelmed.
Awesome.
I already have my list of what I need to do, or what would be beneficial for me to accomplish. We don't need to do anything. But I have my list. And when I look at that list, because some tasks take a little longer than others, and it's immediate, immediate of, oh, I got so much to do. And I don't know, gosh, I only have a few more hours, and just getting into that spin. Now I'm just right away in the morning. How can I get more done in less time? How can I get more done in less time? And by the end of the day, I'm like, damn, I got a lot done today. So that's alone has just been amazing and fun to do. And I want to reiterate what I just said. It's been fun. That's because awesome. I'm not in that overwhelmed space. I'm not in that beating myself up because I didn't get something done, or stressing out that what I didn't get done today has got to be done tomorrow type. I'm just like, this is incredible. Because that, and I don't know, did I get this from you, or I don't know where I got it from, but it's like when you're asking, how can I get more done in less time? It's like bending time.
True.
And it's so fucking cool. That's just the way I gotta express it. It's so fucking cool. And it
exclamation point.
Yeah, big, huge capital letters. And it's also 100% trust and faith. Trust and faith. Those two words have been in my vocabulary for a couple of years now, very prominent, because I have to have trust and faith. Trust in the universe, trust the process of the universe, trust the process of life, trust that things are done, trust that it's already done. And the faith, knowing it's done.
Yeah. Because being in a space of worry or fear or anger, all that stuff, doesn't feel good, and it doesn't use your time the way you would like to really use your time. And by you asking that question, and that goes back to asking question, that's basically like asking for help in so many ways. But it's also setting up your setting your intentions, like how is this possible? But we don't know unless we ask. And that comes all the way back to, it's like Freeman's been telling me, you already got to know. Now you ask, and if you get another no, no big deal. And if you get a yes, wow, like it's super cool, right?
So cool.
Then it's like super cool, exactly. But it's like, it's just being able to go do those things, because you just don't know. And instead of sitting there, because before I would assume and sit back and not do anything about it and be in that space, and then nothing would get done, and I'd be fearful and everything else. So it's the feel of everything is just different, and it's more smooth, and it is more joyful. It's a joyous events, joyous days.
Yeah, we got to embrace that. You just have to embrace it. You want more ease in your life, and we come every week to share what we know and what's happening and what's helping us. It works.
It does work. It's so funny because we had done our 12-month reading too, and then I started reading my month for this month, and it starts telling me the same things, and it's like looking at the next month. And now, because I feel like I'm on the right path, because it feels different, I'm recognizing how this is tying in. Because before, it's like maybe I was resisting still. I'll have to go back and look at the months before, but looking at it, because I didn't feel like, I'd look at it, it'd almost be, for me, I'd almost be like, well, hopeful about it. It's like, maybe. But even the way I said it and how I felt was not hopeful, and hopeful is not having faith, and having faith is just putting it out there and going on in your merry day and doing other things, and then being wild when it shows up and blows your mind. Like my mind's getting blowed lately. It's like, that's funny. My mind's getting blowed lately. I don't even know why that just cracks me up.
Got blowed.
Anyways, it has been blown. Very apparently. But it's like, it's just awesome how everything starts showing up for you. It's the same thing. I feel like I must have just gotten to the part of the year when you started getting these information about collaboration, because you were in a 8-year last year and you're in a 9-year this year for your personal year. So I'm just processing this. It's just kind of funny, because like everything's starting to make sense. Like in the beginning, I don't remember if this is exactly how you felt, but like in the beginning, it's like, I don't know, and going through all these emotional things and all this other stuff was going on, and thinking, I don't know how this is all gonna play out, and I don't know what this looks like. And then now all of a sudden it starts to make sense as the year is progressing, because now we're getting close to freaking August. It blows my mind, like how fast it's gone. This has gone by, like it's just amazes me. Oh, we got 20 more days. Okay, so that'll be over in about 5 minutes. Like that's how fast it's going. But I can feel the momentum of things. And I feel like that you felt the momentum of things happening as the year was progressing last year, getting closer to December. And it's like, holy smokes, it's not, before it had been like, oh God, Christmas is coming up. And now it's like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I don't even know. Like, I just got to get on and, I don't know, hold on freaking tight and have my mouth all open and flying.
You're right.
Right? Because this is what's happening.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, still getting better and better. I too, I read my cards every day, the 12-month spread that we talked about, we lay out. And for September, one of the cards says moving on, and it's about going in a different direction and all this. And I'm thinking, what? Right? What does this mean? What does this mean? I don't know what this means. Of course, we don't know what it means. We got to live our life. And last week, I signed up for a program that's going to help me propel in my business, and it is going to take me kind of in a new direction. And I'm just like, this is so cool. Because those cards every month, I make little notations, because I'm reading July, August, and September. I always read 3 months, and I'm just having that open mind of, I don't know what this is. Honestly, I don't know what this means, but we're gonna ride this and see where it takes us. And as things unfold, like one of the things I want to do is get into group coaching. So I want, like I was talking about earlier, more impact, less time. How can I do that? By a group of people that I can meet with on a regular basis to help them move through a transformation for their life. Well, guess what? The program I signed up for is to help me do that and be able to confidently market myself for that. And that is moving into my August card, because we're starting tomorrow with a VIP day, and then our program like really starts next week. So there you have it. August, moving on, moving in a new direction, learning something new. And and I'm just like, this is so cool. I really love doing that 12-month spread. I really do, because it's just so fun to watch it unfold.
I love it too. This is my second year since you had mentioned it. And for anybody that's watching right now, and if you haven't done a 12-month spread, it's just with your Oracle cards or your tarot cards. We use Oracle cards. And then if you could do it from right now and just finish up the rest of the year and maybe even go into run it into January, and then maybe plan. So we do it in December, we'll plan, we do our 12 card spread, 12-month spread for the whole next year. We start doing that in December. And then we also have an extra deck that would put a word to that. And we've used different decks. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to contact us, and we'll give you some ideas. And maybe you've got some ideas to share with us. We'll take it. But it's awesome because we did this a year ago, and it's like, how could I have known this was going to make sense right now? But I could go all the way to this book with Wolf's Message. How would we have known the stuff that he was leaving behind would have made sense right now? Like, so much crazy stuff. All I can tell people is go get the books and then start recognizing synchronicity in your life, because you're going to recognize it more often. It's already been happening this whole time. You've been experiencing it all the time. You just haven't had an awareness of it. It's awesome. Like, it's awesome. I'm in first chapter reading it yesterday, and this kid was struck by lightning later on in age, and he knew, like 27, I think. He knew that his soul knew that he was going to transition. He was saying goodbye to everybody. He knew he was going to get. He knew. He even he had his favorite shirt that had a lightning strike on it, and he had cut out that part of the shirt and nailed it or tacked it on the wall on the opposite side of this eye that he had pointed, so like a third eye with the yin yang in it, and then a tree with 2 roses at the base of it. So he put that, and she talks about this and all this stuff already. So it's not like any information that's not being discussed outside of the book. But the 2 roses were, the parents decided to stop and get a rose apiece and go put it on at this tree where he was struck and killed. So he knew all of it. His soul knew all this stuff, knew all of it. His whole room was cleaned, like super clean. And the dad said it was never like that. He knew that he was on his way. So it's like, we've got all these synchronistic events. And I'm not saying that it means that you're going to be disappearing out of your physical, like dropping the suit on the floor and skipping town. I mean, it could happen, but doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. It's just being aware of such synchronistic events that we have going on around us that are constantly propelling us forward. Even to the client that I'm going to be talking to after we're done here, even for her, this is the second time it's happened that she's driving and she doesn't want to go to work, and she's crying and upset and all those emotions, and she hits a bird. What does that mean? What do you think it means? Like, right? Let's like listening to your intuition is stop right now. That's it. Because you keep going on this path, you're that bird.
Freaking feathers flying everywhere.
Yes. And it doesn't mean that she's going to die, because death to me is only rebirth. So sometimes our awakening only comes from that.
It is almost, if you think about it, because that impact probably killed the bird, like she's dying inside right now.
She is.
Right? If she feels that way about going to work, you're dying inside right now. And you know how that's super detrimental to your physical wellness. It's just deteriorating your body.
but also lets me know that she's on a transition phase,
Yeah.
which is from a growth standpoint, this is huge. You're like exactly where you need to be right now, because it's when you feel like that to go to work, you need to reassess things and see where you need to go. If you're that bad off, then it's probably time to leave that job, period.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'll say, find a way to be in that space that you can enjoy it, so that way you leave it, so you're not taking your bag of shit with you to the next job. But in a case like this, it's probably time to make a if you can't see it from a positive aspect, and it's killing you, literally killing you, it's time to go.
Yeah. And I've seen that happen a few times too, that people unhappy in their job and they're just like, I'm done. I mean, it's an immediate done. And the next door that opens is phenomenal for them. There's so much
Exactly.
peace. They still have a job, you know, they go into another employment, but the peace and the joy and the ease, and it's like night and day.
Yeah, it's like holding onto a rope and being so afraid. You're looking up at the top of this cliff and you're just holding onto it dearly, and then all of a sudden you realize I can let go, and the ground's right there, and look around you. Like it's just like that.
Yeah.
So amazing. It's what we're holding on to because we think we have to. And that, to me, I feel like maybe a lot of suicides probably go that direction because they're holding on to so many other things and they're not being able to see what really is going on around them.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we can, even for like the stuff that we do, if we can reach more and more people to give them hope or to help them put their foot on the ground now, let go of that rope and quit holding on tight to everything, they'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah. And I want to go back to, because I had the thought when you were talking about it, about the gentleman who knew he was going to transition and he cleaned his room and everything. What I remembered was when Sylvia Brown was with us, and she was a world-renowned psychic medium, that her and her practitioners, those people that were working with her and had, growth and expansion in their life, that they found them when they transitioned from the physical body back to spirit. They found them laying on their bed with, I don't know, their hands were either like on their heart or crossed on their butt. Somehow their hand, they would just lay down and that was it, because they knew they were going to transition. And so I just I find that interesting, that when we can be so tuned in to know I'm getting ready to leave. And there's been lots and lots of stories like that, so it is possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't read Sylvia Brown stuff. So, or any of her books or anything. I've heard of her, so for sure, but yeah, that's awesome.
Her stuff's actually what got me on this journey. So that's serious.
That's super cool.
Opened me up to a world that I didn't even know existed. I was like, this is so cool.
Thank God, because it looks so much better over here.
It does. It's been a journey. Not gonna lie, it's not been easy, but it's so much better.
That's wonderful.
So
and
much.
It is. Yeah, it is so much better. So much better, even for both of us at a suicide, go back to the suicide way that's come up right now. But going back to that time frame, it's probably somebody that's watching. It's going back to that time frame and feeling like, gosh, how I used to then. I didn't want to be here. I didn't feel like I had anything to offer. And it's, doing things perfectly, like you said, doing jobs, like even going through that whole process, doing jobs because I could do it perfectly, because I'd always do a perfect job at whatever I was doing. Once I mastered it, I was going to do it perfect. There was no way around it, but it wasn't my passion. So, and it's like, to me, I feel like a lot of times it's, you feel like you can't do things perfect enough, or you can't do it good enough for somebody else. And that's part of the transition, from, taking your own life, taking that opportunity, following through on something. There's just so many different reasons to go that route, I suppose, because I was in that space. I was in that space for, gosh, many of my younger years. Once I had my kids, it was like, if I might have felt like I didn't want to be here, and I have felt like that since I've had kids. But it's one thing that had always kept me here. It anchored me, grounded me, I guess I could say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think if I hadn't had my son, I don't know if I would be here. For sure.
Yeah, and then I hear I hear one of my own kids say the same thing. If it wasn't for my child, I wouldn't be here, even still. So it's like there's such a blessing for so many of us, even in this process, to go that route. But it's also, it puts a lot of weight on the shoulders of the person that you have kept,
Yeah.
you to keep yourself here in that space, and in a lot of ways. So for me, it's like looking at that and healing that whole process. So it's not because I'm blessed. Something recently, my daughter had her birthday, one of my daughters, and she says, well, happy birthday to you too. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I never stopped to process that. Like, what before it was always like, oh, we got to plan a birthday party. We got to do this. It's their kid, it's their birthday. We got to make sure it's the room set up, all this whole process, and not honoring back to this body, because if it wasn't for this body, that person wouldn't be here.
Right.
So it was like it was a different way of looking at it. And it's like, I hear people all the time, because I used to be this person. I'm not celebrating any more of my birthdays. I'm over it, blah, blah, blah. This is the age. I don't care about it. It's like, man, but there were so much beautiful things that happened because of the birth of you into this body.
Yeah. I would, for a while, I would acknowledge my mom on my birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll be honest, it wasn't until I went through some healing, part of, early in my journey of, my mid 30s, then I started acknowledging her. I'm like, well, thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. And if I wasn't here, I wouldn't be able to impact other people's lives and help them.
Which is amazing. And you said serve a while back in the conversation that we've been talking today. When I first started processing that to serve, I was like, another job. I've got too much stuff to do right now. How can I serve? That's how I felt. There were so many feelings that I felt about serving.
Yeah.
And now when I hear that, and when I say it, I'm on a different platform now, because it looks like, oh my God, I get to serve. I can do this stuff every day. This is like amazing.
We're doing it right now.
I know.
For 2.5 years.
I know. Thank you.
Once a week. We're having our own therapy sessions, and everybody else
It's true.
From it.
It's true.
So yeah, you're welcome.
Your thing.
Oh, awesome. Great conversation. So much. And I wanted to bring it back around to when we started in our conversation, that life is a punishment. Not sometimes when you're in that space of hopelessness and despair, and you are in that energy, you may not actually be in the act of it, but in that energy of not wanting to be on this planet, not wanting to continue your life journey here on earth, that we're seeing from that perspective that life is a punishment, and it really isn't. Where your spirit is stronger than you're acknowledging. I know that's what kept me going for a very long time, was the spirit within me. My light was strong, but I didn't know what that was at the time. And so get the help, get the counseling, get the coaching, get the therapy, whatever you need to do to help yourself move out of that energy, because life isn't a punishment. Life is life experiences, and it's the amplified stories that we attach to it. When we can dim those stories down, then we can start seeing the more There's always that light at the end of the tunnel. Might be a little pinprick, but it's there. And we can start expanding on that light and following it, because that's where the joy is. That's where, and that's experiencing the joy in this life while you're in the physical body. So do what you need to do to get that help, to get you moving in a different direction and seeing your life from a different perspective.
And then I want to throw on there at the very end to remind people, because you said this recently, when you say I love you, look into the person's eyes. I'm practicing this. And I say I'm practicing it because I say it with my clients. There's some clients it's just an automatic. We love each other because we recognize we're all connected anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like I love you just like I love myself. And then when I walked outside with a client, I was like, I love you. And I went to turn around, walk back out, and I walked back out and I said, hey, wait. And she turned around and I said, I love you. I said, it was just a good reminder for me to be able to do eye to eye with you, to say I love you, to make sure that you know that we're connected. So that's huge. That's huge for everybody.
For sure.
And you're the one who taught me that, because you've been going through that growth too. You recognized it.
So
thank you.
I love you.
I love you.
All right, my friends, thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amie and Bev. You know somebody who could benefit from these videos or even just this episode, so please share us. And thanks for hanging out with us. We love that you could do anything else with your time and energy, and you're listening to us. That's awesome.
It is awesome. Have a magical week.
Yes, make it magical. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.